Picture this. It is Thanksgiving Eve, 1971. You are sitting on an airplane, tired, eager to get home to your family. You look to your left and you see a man in a dark suit. He's calm. He orders a bourbon and soda. He smiles politely at the flight attendant. He looks like a businessman. He looks like your neighbor. He looks harmless. But inside his black attaché case, there are no business papers. There is a tangle of red wires and batteries, and in just a few minutes, that quiet, unassuming man will turn this ordinary flight into one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in American history. His name, he says, is Dan Cooper, but you know him as D.B. Cooper. And tonight, he is about to do something that no one has ever done before, or since. Let's go back to the beginning. Portland, Oregon, 2 p.m. The airport is bustling with holiday travelers. Families are hugging, children are… It feels like any other day before Thanksgiving. A man in his mid-40s walks up to the Northwest Orient counter. He is wearing a crisp white shirt, a black tie with a simple pearl pin, and a lightweight raincoat. He pays $20 in cash for a one-way ticket to Seattle. The clerk doesn't think twice. In 1971, there were no metal detectors, no TSA, no facial recognition. You could walk onto a plane with a bomb in your briefcase and no one would stop you. He boards Flight 305, a Boeing 727-100, and takes his seat, 18C, or maybe 18E. The witnesses can never quite agree. He asks the flight attendant for a bourbon and soda. He drinks it slowly. He keeps his sunglasses on, even indoors. He is a ghost among the living. Then, about 10 minutes after takeoff, he does something that will freeze that flight attendant in her tracks. He passes her a folded note. She thinks it is a phone number, maybe a clumsy pickup line. She slips it into her pocket without looking. But he leans forward, his voice low and steady, and he says, "Miss, you'd better read that note. I have a bomb." Let me tell you what that moment must have felt like. You are a young woman doing your job, serving drinks, and suddenly the world stops. Your heart drops into your stomach. Your hands start to shake. He opens his briefcase, just a crack, and you see it. A mass of wires and red cylinders. It looks horrifyingly real. He reads his demands aloud, his voice never wavering. He wants $200,000 in cash and marked $20 bills. And he wants 4 parachutes, not 1, 4. He is not just a criminal, he is a strategist. He knows that if he asks for 4, the authorities will be forced to give him at least one that works. He is 10 steps ahead of everyone. Now, imagine the terror of the cockpit. The pilot, William Scott, is a veteran aviator. He has flown through storms and mechanical failures. But he has never had a gun to his head in the sky. He radios the ground, his voice trained but professional. "We have a situation, we have a hijacker, he has a bomb." Down on the tarmac in Seattle, the FBI scrambles like ants under a magnifying glass. They have just 2 hours to gather the money and the chutes. And here is the kicker. The FBI has one shot at catching him. They photograph every single bill, recording the serial numbers. They think they are being smart. They think they will track the money. But Cooper is smarter. The plane circles Seattle for 2 hours. Meanwhile, the 36 passengers sit in blissful ignorance. They have no idea that a bomb is just a few rows behind them. One passenger later recalled, "I slept most of the time. I woke up, looked around, and saw the stewardess's face go pale. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what." By the time the plane lands at Seattle-Tacoma at 5:24 p.m., the FBI has the ransom ready. A single airport worker walks up the stairs, hands over the bag of money, 10,000 individual $20 bills, and the 4 parachutes. Cooper examines them like a surgeon inspecting his tools. He knows the difference between a front and back parachute. He is an expert. But here is the cruel twist of fate. One of the parachutes the FBI gives him is a dummy. It has been sewn shut. It is completely useless. If Cooper picks that one, he will fall to his death without a prayer. He releases the passengers, all 36 of them. Imagine the relief on their faces as they stumble off the plane, hugging each other, not realizing they just escaped death. But the 4 crew members are not so lucky. They are stuck. They are hostages now. It is just them, a hijacker with a bomb, and a long, dark flight ahead. Cooper orders the pilot to take off again. Destination: Mexico City. But his instructions are painfully specific. Fly at 10,000 feet, not a foot higher. Keep the flaps at 15 degrees. Lower the landing gear. Why? Because he knows that on a Boeing 727, the rear staircase can be deployed in mid-air. He is not just a hijacker, he is an engineer of chaos. The plane takes off into the black stormy night. The crew is terrified. The pilot, the co-pilot, the engineer, they are all thinking the same thing. Is this man going to kill us? Is he going to blow us up? Or is he just going to jump out into the abyss and leave us to fly home alone? At 8:13 p.m., the plane is flying over the Lewis River in Washington state. The rain is pounding against the windshield, the wind is howling, the temperature is below freezing. And then, the flight engineer looks at his control panel. He sees the pressure gauge spike. The rear door has opened. Cooper is gone. He jumped into a nightmare, a violent storm, winds over 100 miles per hour, total darkness. And he jumped wearing a business suit, dress shoes, and a raincoat. He did not have a survival suit. He did not have a helmet. He did not have a map. He just had a bag of money and a parachute that might not work. Let me paint that picture for you. Imagine standing at the edge of a door 10,000 feet in the air. The wind is screaming past you. It is so cold that your fingers go numb in seconds. The rain feels like needles on your skin. You look down, but you cannot see the ground. It is just a void, a bottomless pit of blackness. And you have to leap. Not because you want to, but because the only alternative is to get caught. That takes a kind of desperation, or a kind of madness that we can hardly comprehend. Did he survive? The FBI says no. They say he probably never even got his chute open. One agent put it bluntly. Diving into the wilderness without a plan, without the right equipment, in such terrible conditions, he probably died in the fall. He became a corpse that nature swallowed. But here is the agonizing part. They never found a body. For 45 years, the FBI searched. They scoured forests, they dragged rivers, they interviewed 800 suspects, they chased thousands of tips, and nothing. Not a bone, not a shred of fabric, not a single trace of the man. And then, 9 years later, in February 1980, a miracle happens. An 8-year-old boy named Brian Ingram is camping with his family on the Columbia River at Tena Bar. He is digging in the sand, looking for a spot to build a fire. When his shovel hits something soft, he pulls it out. It is a bundle of $20 bills. $5,800. They are held together by rubber bands that are still intact. The serial numbers match the ransom money. Imagine that moment. A little boy playing in the sand unearths a treasure from a ghost. That money had been buried in the riverbank for 9 years, and yet the rubber bands were still intact. That means the money did not spend much time underwater. That means someone or something put it there. But if Cooper landed in the river and drowned, why did his body never wash ashore? If he landed on solid ground, where did the rest of the money go? The FBI closed the case in 2016. They said, "We exhausted every lead. We interviewed every witness. We did everything we could." But you can hear the frustration in their voices. It is the frustration of a man who has lost a game he was supposed to win. Let me talk about the suspects now, because this is where this story becomes heartbreakingly human. Consider Richard Floyd McCoy Jr. He was a Green Beret, a Vietnam veteran, a helicopter pilot who earned a Purple Heart. He was a hero. He survived a war that killed thousands of his friends, but something broke inside him. 5 months after Cooper vanished, McCoy hijacked a United Airlines flight. Same plane, same bomb threat, same demand for money and parachutes. He jumped out over Utah. The similarities are chilling. But here is the tragedy. McCoy was caught. He was sentenced to 45 years in prison. And in 1974, he was killed in a shootout with police. He was just 32 years old. Now, his children have come forward. They believe their father was Cooper. They gave the FBI a parachute that was found on their family property. They gave DNA samples, and the results suggest a match. But the FBI needs to exhume McCoy's body to be sure. Imagine being those children. Imagine growing up with the weight of knowing your father may have been the most famous fugitive in American history. Imagine the shame, the secrecy, the fear of being discovered. They carried that secret for decades. That is the human cost of this mystery.